So to start off this prom look, we're going to be doing the eyebrows first. I'm using Benefit Ka-Brow in shade 5. Since this look is going to be a very dark, dramatic, smoky eye, I felt a strong brow was going to suit this look best. Although, don't get me wrong, I do like a nice, light, wispy brow with dramatic eyes as well. But I was just kind of feeling a darker, bolder brow for this look. Once I've applied the Ka-Brow using an angled brush, I'm going to be carving out with a MAC 252 brush. You guys have seen me use this quite a few times already, and I am using my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light to just prime her eyelid space while also carving out the base of the eyebrow, and I'm patting this down onto her eyelid to make sure that it's capturing a lot of air and kind of drying it down a bit and mattifying it so it creates a nice smooth base for us to work on without any clumps of concealer gathered up in certain spots. You really want to just take your time and work this down, patting it down to the eye. I'm going to do this to the other brow as well. The brows, when I felt like I started them off, I'm not like super happy with them, especially just for this look. But later in the tutorial, you're gonna see I do add a little bit more to the beginning, and it was more about evening out the beginning of her eyebrows. But other than that, oh, also the tops too. I don't carve them out yet, but I do carve them out with the foundation later on. I just kind of brushed some Gimme Brow on her hairs too, also from Benefit in shade 5. So to begin the eye look with the eyeshadows, I'm putting masking tape, just lining it up to the edge of her eyelid all the way to the tail of her eyebrow. And I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Black Gel Liner first just to create a nice dark base. This is the best way to create the most opaque black for a dark smoky eye. You want a nice base to kind of give you that black depth that you need. And I'm just pressing this on all the way from the roots of her lashes to the beginning of her crease and from the inner and outer corner. Next, I'm going to be pressing on a black shadow. This shadow is from the Marc Jacobs Editorial palette, and it is the shade Everywhere. It's black, but it has the specks of glitter in it, which I felt was going to complement the glitter that we're going to apply on top. I don't like to go in straight with the glitter all the time because I feel like glitter has some gaps, and the shadow underneath will not only set the black gel liner, but also fill in the gaps that the glitter kind of separates in. I'm then going to be pressing on this shadow from the Colourpop My Little Pony palette, and then that's where we really begin to kind of smooth this all out and blow it out into that nice gradient smoky eye. And I'm using very small blending brushes and keeping my circles really, really tight and just taking my time and working these colors all together. This look is a very back and forth type of look because you kind of want to keep blending and getting that seamless blend. But at the same time, every time you do blend, you may lose a little bit of that black. So you're going to want to keep going back and forth and blending and then adding more black and blending and adding more black until finally you achieve the blended look you want, but also you still have that nice dark depth that you have. So here you can see I'm just going back, adding that black after those pinks have kind of taken away a little bit of it. So for the glitter, I'm going to be using my favorite glitter adhesive at the moment. This is the NYX Glitter Primer, and I'm just pressing it on with that MAC 252 brush. And the glitter we're going to be using is going to be Bondi Black from J.Cat Cosmetics. And again, I'm using the same brush to do this. And for the glitter, I decided to kind of start it off at the beginning, almost like a cut crease, but not really because it is fading off into the crease. And then I covered about 2/3 of the eyelid before just letting it all kind of fade away and putting less glitter and a less glitter glue as we get towards the outer corner of the eye so we get that gradient effect. I'm then just taking a makeup remover wipe and I'm just sharpening up the edge. I actually didn't use tape on the first eye that I did. Every time I do a tutorial with a model client or a model, I like to kind of do one eye off camera to get a feel for what I'm doing. So that's why I kind of sharpen it up with a wipe instead. So for the face, I'm priming with the Neo Elixir oil from Kevyn Aucoin. This is a beautiful priming oil, especially if you have more of normal to drier skin type. If you're extremely dry, this probably won't be hydrating enough, but if you're in that normal to dry range, then this is gonna make your skin look so flawless. My model didn't really have oily skin. She also didn't really have very dry skin. She felt very normal. So I wanted to have this look be a little bit on the glowy side, so I decided to prime with this. I'm then going to be using the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation. I already color matched her. I believe I used the shade 5A on her. I could be wrong, but she was around that shade range. I'm applying this first with a flat foundation brush just to kind of spread it out evenly, making sure I don't have globs of foundation in certain areas and not enough in certain areas. I feel like you really get the most out of your foundation. You'll find that you're probably using less foundation because you'll see how much a little goes a long way. To blend this into the skin, I'm going to be using a damp Real Technique sponge. And as you can see, like her skin with the foundation on top just looks so moist. It just looks like healthy, moisturized skin, which is why I've really been liking that primer oil. It just makes your skin glow, especially if you're in that normal range, like I said. Then to highlight and conceal, I am using the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Natural, and I'm starting this off in the very corner of her eye, and then also with the concealer just kind of cleaning up that edge a little bit, and I'm fanning this out all the way to the tops of her cheekbones. So we're going to be cream contouring for this look, so we're going to be applying this also down the bridge of her nose, the center of her forehead, the corners of her mouth, and a little bit on her chin. The foundation color is a little bit on the warmer side, so using a lighter concealer to highlight really just kind of helps even out tones. And the foundation does oxidize a little bit, so to avoid her face looking a little too darker than what she naturally is on her neck and décolleté shoulders area, this is going to kind of really help. And then same thing, we're going to be blending out this concealer with the Real Technique sponge that we use for the foundation. Just making sure to really pat this into the skin, work this into the foundation so you don't have any lines or obvious marks of her highlighted areas. And then the concealer that's closest to her lash line, I am going to leave untouched in the time that we are putting the cream contour on because I don't want it to start to settle in her creases. I'm going to be cream contouring with the Anastasia palette in medium, the cream contouring palette, and I did moisten the color a little bit with the the Neo elixir oil, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a creamy finish. I find that the Anastasia cream contours can be a bit drying, so a good tip to kind of fight the dryness in those cream contours is to put a little bit of beauty oil in it, and it'll really loosen them up, make them much more easier to work with. And then to blend out the cream contour, I am using this really stiff condensed brush from Crown. It doesn't have a specific name. It came in a set of 3, so it doesn't have like a number or specific name to it. But I'm basically just patting that into the skin. And then when it comes to the nose contour, I wanted to keep it really, really tight and really not let it get out of control. So I'm using a small little blending brush to kind of just work that into her foundation. And then the same brush I'm also going to be using for the lip area. And I don't know what happened with the lighting. I think the sun maybe shifted, and that's why she looks really orange. I do have warm filters on my ring light right now, so the fact that the sun kind of left and we were just left with the ring light to light up, I guess it kind of warmed up her face a little too much, but either way, it kind of adjusts, but I apologize for that. And then once we blend everything out, now I'm going to blend out the concealer underneath her eye. I didn't want it to be blended out and then while we were cream contouring, just have it sit there. So I like to save that for the end. I like to save it for right when I'm about to set it with powder. So here you see me doing that. I am using the Starr and Mac setting powder. I find it really, really nice just to set the face. Not so much for highlighting, but to set, it's a beautiful, beautiful finish. I'm then going to be going over her foundation with the NYX Stay Matte Not Flat Foundation Powder in a color closest to her shade range. And then we're going to start bronzing. I'm using these Bronze Essentials bronzer. This came in one of my BoxyCharm boxes. I don't use it too much because I find that's a little too on the warm side for me. I need something a little bit cooler. But for those who have medium skin tone, this is a beautiful, beautiful bronzer. And I like applying this with a big fluffy brush, and I'm just working this into the cheekbones. Not a lot on her forehead. She doesn't have a very broad forehead, so I didn't really focus too much on bronzing there. But for highlighting and setting that and brightening that up a bit more, I'm using the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Contouring Palette, and I am just setting that with the yellow shade from that palette and just directly underneath her eyes. It really brightens everything up. I'm then going to be taking this eyeliner from Urban Decay. It has like this beautiful cranberry shade. And then I'm just going to be going in reverse order from darkest to lightest colors that we used on her lid to just start to blow this out and smudge it out. And then I'm going to show you guys how to create that like fluent line from the top eyelid down to the bottom lash line, because I feel like when you do the eyes first and then you're going to do the under eye very towards the end, you kind of don't really get that nice cohesive below. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing that. So I'm just taking my MAC 252 brush and I'm just going to be creating a really strong line going from the very top of her lid down to the bottom. And then once I get a little bit closer, I would say like 1/4 of the way going in from the outer corner, I start to kind of fade it off, and I'll just let that smoke out on its own naturally. But I'm just creating that line going across diagonally from the top of her eyelid down to the bottom. And then for lashes, I'm using Tarte lashes in the style TL2. They're one of their fuller style of lashes, so I really thought they were appropriate for this really dramatic look. And I'm just popping a little bit of the highlight, really light shade from the My Little Pony palette from Colourpop. As her lashes are drying, I'm going to be highlighting. I'm using Rodeo Dry from Ofra Cosmetics, one of my favorite highlighters, and I want her to glow. I feel like with a eye look this strong, it's only appropriate to just go full throttle with the rest of the glam, and I like to just give an intense highlight when we're doing an intense eye. I really wanted this look to be dramatic for my edgier girls, you know, just to kind of go for it. For blush, I am using the new Urban Decay palette. This is the shade Double Take, and I am just applying this with a real hair brush, just keeping it in that nice kind of warmth and rosy tone. For the lips, I'm going to be lining her lips and filling them in first with Night Moth from MAC to create a nice opaque base. And for the actual lipstick, I'm using High Drama Retro Matte from MAC as well, and then setting with my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray, so this can last her all night long. And this is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you're going to be rocking something bold and dark and sultry for prom, or if you're not going to prom, if that's like past your time, then let me know if you'll just wear this any other day. But anyways, if you guys like this tutorial, let me know what you think down below. Thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.